So, welcome once again to Rage Against the Dice. Today is the first look at one of our teams that will be competing on Friday night, Fight Night, which is our Rumbleslam based wrestling show that we're going to be doing in the near future. The team that we're looking at today is the NWO, which is the New World Orcs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to the players on that team, tell you a little bit about what they're about, just so you guys have a better feel for exactly who they are ready for when it starts. So the first one we're going to look at is the big troll himself, and he's named the Big Slow. So there he is there. I mean, he's an imposing figure, as you can see there. I mean, this guy, when he's attacking, he hits hard. He's rolling 1 gold and 2 silver. When he's defending, he's 1 silver, 2 copper. His grappling's 3 silver and his dexterity's 1 copper. So he hits hard, and he's not so bad in every other area there as well. He certainly is a fan favourite there with the crowd. He's a pop 1, meaning that when he's trying to get those cheers off there and he's trying to work the crowd, he's certainly got a good chance of doing that there. He can also throw you like 5 squares, so any little halfling, any bit of vermin that's getting in his way, he's picking them up and he's throwing them out the ring pretty quickly. And with him being a weight 3 there, as you can see, he's rather large and imposing. I'm just going to pop him back there. Now, he is known for doing his spinning spine buster. Now, that can daze an opponent. And when he's doing that, he's rolling 3 silver. It's only causing a damage of 1 there, but it's the daze that's really affecting them. And then, of course, there's his troll toll that he does from the top rope there, which is 3 gold and does 4 damage. He's leaping across the ring 4 squares, so it's not a great distance, but when he's landing on you, he's impacting and you're knowing about it. As I said before, he does know how to work the crowd. When he gets the crowd going, his brawl attacks do 2 damage until the end of his next activation, so even when he's just basic hitting you, he's still doing a lot of damage. And then he's actually able to regenerate as well, so as the match goes on and the crowd are getting there behind him, each turn he's gaining back 1 stamina, so he's pretty hard to beat. So what we're going to do now is, he is probably the MVP of this, but we're going to move on now to the 2 guys who quite often operate as a tag team, but on this occasion I'm going to introduce them separately. You've got here, it's Snot, and of course his brother that I will quickly introduce because they are brothers is Brick. So it's Snot and Brick, the Smasher Brothers. I'm going to run through quickly on Snot what he can do. As you can see there on the back, they're all about the war. These guys are always looking for a fight there, and he's a grappler. So he's much more likely to twist you up in knots than Brick, who's much more likely to hit you. So he's rolling 2 copper when he attacks. His defense is 1 silver, 1 copper. His grapple, as we were saying, that's what he's all about, is 2 silver, 1 copper. And he's also got 2 copper for his dexterity as well, so he's a good all-rounder there. He's a weight 2, as you would assume, for his sort of size. Pop 2, so the crowd aren't as into him maybe as they are a troll, but that's probably because the troll's got that size advantage, etc. going on. He's still got a throw distance of 4 though, and his massive headlock certainly is a crowd pleaser. Every time he hooks you on that, he's knocking his opponent down to defense 0, so then after he does that, he puts those brawl attacks in there, and he can take out even the biggest of foes. Like I said, the crowd aren't as into him as maybe they are with a troll, but certainly when they get behind him, they really, really do get behind him. And when they do, it changes that grapple to 3 silver plus 1 instead of the 2 silver and a copper. And that lasts until the end of his next activation. So that's certainly when he's starting to look to getting people out the ring. And then, of course, he does his jaw dropper from the top ropes as well, which is a bit understated. It's a range of 5, so he's clearing a good distance. Damage of 4, and he's a 3 silver plus 1. But when he is doing that, he isn't really doing anything else that turn. Activation-wise, You know, that if he's going to hit that, that's a big move for him. I would class that as, you know, like a signature move there. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to move on to his brother Brick, which is this guy here. And he's much more likely to punch you. He's an imposing figure there. Brilliant. And he's hitting you with 2 silver, 1 copper. He's defending with a silver and a copper. His grapple's 2 copper. And then his dexterity again is 2 copper. So his dexterity is exactly the same as his brother's. His weight and his pop and his throw are all the same. He's got the same activations and he moves kind of the same distance. It's his attacks that differ. Now, he doesn't grapple you when he hits you. He just hits you. He's got to war where he comes off the ropes. He's hitting you. You know, he's hitting you hard there. 3 copper plus 1. Damage of 1. However, you know, once he hits you, you know, you're taking that damage there. So it's, you know, during attack measurement, deal 1 damage to any enemy wrestler in an adjacent square as well. So he's catching somebody else. Then he's got his top rope move, which has been known to knock people down, called the Splat. 3 silver plus 1. Damage of 2 and a range of 5. So he's clearing across the ring. And then he's actually, because of, you know, him being a bit of a ring general, he's been around quite a while. He actually gives that boost to people. When the crowd are getting behind him, you can see that the orcs and the goblins, they're moving a bit quicker, so you're going to get your plus, you know, MP counter on him. Certainly, he's one to have in your ring. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to cover the 2 little gobos there. Because these guys, you know, cost-wise, they're ones that are overlooked amongst this team. But they're certainly, from my money, these guys do a lot of damage. These are guys the crowd get behind. Similar to the orcs, what we're going to go for first is we're going to cover Nugget. Now, Nugget, he's a grappler, much like Snot. And he's there in the pink and the black there. As the camera will eventually get into focus. I do apologise. So what I'm going to do is, while I wait for that to do its thing, it's probably me. But while that's doing its thing, I'm just going to cover what he can do. So he's an attack of copper, defense of copper. His grapple itself is 2 copper. And then on top of that, you've got 3 copper for his dexterity. He's a good guy to activate first. He certainly leads a lot of the charges and things. Once the fighting actually continues. He's got a fantastic armbar there, that when he knocks that on you, you're actually going to go down and get yourself a minus action point counter. And it also does 1 damage as well. And then he's got his Snot drop from the top ropes. 3 copper, damage of 3, and then it's a range of 6. So he's flying halfway across the ring. You know, not only as a nugget, but when he's diving across the ring like that, he's like a rocket. Certainly there he is. He's not very strong, but if the crowd are behind him, he can actually, you know, it doubles the length he can throw someone, so it goes from 2 to 4. He is only a weight 1, so he's quite diddy there. And then again, as we were saying before, he's a pop 2. Meaning it's going to cost him 2 action points there to get the crowd on his side. But if he does it, like I said, it is a benefit. And then last but not least is Hardly Perfect. Look at him there. In the red and the black singlet. Throwing up there a little pose that's going back to, you know, one of his heroes. Now he's a brawler. So when he's hitting you there, he's hitting you with 2 attack of 2 copper, a defense of 1 copper, a grapple of 1 copper, and then his dexterity is 3 copper. So again, he's another guy who's going to start off a lot of those matches using the faster pace to really take advantage early on. 5 action points, 5 movement. He's a weight of 1, a pop of 2, and a throw of 2. So in that respect, he's, you know, the same as Nugget. Where he really excels is the fact that he can, when he hits off those ropes, he can go 7 inches or 7 squares with that rocket. 2 silver plus 1 with a damage of 2. If the attack fails to hit, though, he does take 1 damage himself because of the speed in which he goes. When he gets the crowd behind him, his attack becomes 1 gold plus 1 until the end of his next activation as well. So that's when he's going to start really dealing the damage. Then if he really, really needs to, he can come off the top rope with the move that he's, patented, where he calls the Green Eagle, sorry. That's 4 copper, so he's rolling a lot of dice when he's hitting that. Damage of 3 and a range of 6, so he really is clearing the ring. So that's these guys together. They've had a couple of matches, to warm up. And of course they have a long history within the Rumbleslam wrestling. Once these guys get going, though, they're really going to show their stuff. It has already been announced that the very first match for the very first event is going to be them. And they're taking on Regeneration X, which is the guys we're going to look at next time. Which is the human, ogre, and halfling team. And those guys are in the gym at the minute, just bulking up, making sure they're looking the best ready for this profile. One thing to mention is just sort of the stamina, etc. on them. So, with your goblins, those guys aren't going to take a lot of hits. They're 4 stamina each. Which isn't too bad. They're smaller guys, they're fast, nimble around the ring, but they're not going to be able to take a lot of punishment like, say, an orc would or a troll. And with that, the orcs there, they have 8. So they can certainly take a lot bigger pounding, and it's going to take a lot more to knock them out, to make it that bit easier to throw out of the ring. And then where you excel is you've got your troll. He's coming up. He's going to be the hardest to knock down, but you would expect that. I mean, you've got him there. Look at him. He's massive. He's blue. He's got those stone boulders poking out of him. He's an imposing figure. And with his sort of 10 stamina, he does take a lot. I've personally never seen him being knocked out. I've seen the Gobbos get knocked out virtually every match that they have. I've seen both of the orcs, the Smasher brothers there. They've also been knocked out before, but I've never seen the troll go down the big slow. He's really imposing there with that giant fist to knock people out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it there, let you guys have one more quick look on the team, and then we'll sort of end it as it is there. As always, we ask you to subscribe, like, tune in to see their first match. Get behind them. These might be a team that you guys root for. If not, as I said, Regeneration X, their profile will be coming up in the next couple of days, and you'll be able to see exactly what they're all about. So, as always, pray to the dice gods and hope they smile upon you. And thank you very much for your time.
Coming soon.